Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today on Progressive Soup. I'm your host today. My name is Emily Wolfentesta, and today my guest is Lorraine Jolly, an intuitive massage therapist. And today our topic of discussion is emotions affecting the physical. And so, Lorraine, thank you for joining us. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad to have you.
Thanks.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself as an intuitive massage therapist.
Well, basically I studied my body, mind, and spirit since I was 18 years old. I didn't like myself. I didn't like who I was becoming, who I was associated with. And so I started diving deeper into me to find out who I was. And so over time, I did accounting for 30 years, and then over time, I started understanding how emotions affected my physical body.
Right.
And I began to do healings, and then I went to massage school to get a license, and so now I help people get well. Basically, that's the bottom line.
Right.
So, and my work is based on emotion, pretty much on emotions affecting the physical body. Injuries that have happened years ago, people are not associating, or traumas that happened years ago, people are not associating with it being a problem with what's going on with the pain they have today. Right? They're thinking it's here and now, but it's really been a long time build-up that causes the disruption or dysfunction in the body. And I think the big thing is people have a problem with thinking that trauma has to be something that, they were abused or they come from an alcoholic family or that type of thing. But it's not. It can be very simplistic situations, such as, your sister pulled your hair when you were, 6 years old, and some emotional component to that took over and became an energy pattern for you. And then when you get older, that starts manifesting in different ways. We're not saying it is, sometimes it is more, the trauma is worse, right? But it doesn't have to be. And I think that's what scares people, thinking they're going to uncover something, grand.
No, you're right. And like you'd said, as a massage therapist, if you ask someone if something happened, they probably thinking, oh, did something big, traumatic happen? And then they're like, no, nothing bad happened. And then it could be something, like you said, that they might not even have considered being a trauma.
Exactly.
It could be, yeah.
Well, I had a client, for instance, who she came in with a migraine she had for a month, or maybe a little longer. And in one session, her migraine was released, but I worked the whole time on her arm. Now, in subsequent sessions, I got, because I'm an intuitive, I get information from the body if the person relinquishes it, to me. Through my being able to read it through the body, not them verbally. And I knew that something had happened to her when she was younger, so I asked her, something happened when you were younger? And she said, no, nothing ever happened to me. And then in subsequent sessions, she said, oh, well, I got hit by a car when I was 5 years old and rushed to the hospital, and then when she returned home, her father had left. Right? So you look at all that trauma. Now, first of all, what's the first response you're going to do when you something coming at you? You're going to put your hands up, right? So the arm is what held all of that emotion over time, which was causing her headaches, right? Everything tightening up, the blockage of energy in that area, right? And so she didn't even consider, she was like, oh, well, I got hit by a car when I was 6 years old. Never, now you think of ambulances and firemen and sirens and hospital rooms and doctors and people all, and because her hip had been the problem, and it, it healed, right? Everybody thought she was okay, right? Because when we have some kind of, if we break a bone, everybody waits for that to heal, and that's all fine and dandy, and then they forget about it. But what about the emotional component to that? is what people are missing, right? So for kids, I love when I have younger clients because, or even older clients who have grandchildren, because I can help them understand more about how nurturing the emotion is more important than the bone being broken,
right.
because that will heal on its own.
Yeah.
But the emotions are what gets stored, whether they were embarrassed, whether they were on their ready to go on vacation and they got in an accident and now they never met their destination.
Right.
They were heading on a date. There's a million and one things, and then all the emotions that come with that. Even a car having to go into a shop if they got in an accident, and all of that stress from that, right? And then
how are you going to pay for the repair?
And just all of these types of things that people don't realize that we take into the system. So that's to me that's a real important aspect, and it's proven in my own study of my own self how that frees you up from pain.
And I think so often, too, people don't like to talk about emotions. People say, oh, I'm so stressed. But what you were saying, it's really, I have so emotional, I have so many emotions. But in our society, it's that you can't feel anything. Be a man. Men don't feel emotions. Or, it's a sign of weakness, really, to talk about your feelings.
It's funny you mention that, because actually stress, there is the definition of stress in like the Merriam-Webster dictionary is a physical, chemical, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension and may be a factor in disease causation, right? But if you're standing around the water cooler at work and you're all saying, oh, I'm under stress, everybody's in on the conversation. But I will guarantee you, if somebody said, I have all these emotions today, that there'd be nobody drinking water anymore. I mean, it's probably a good thing, like for the employer, they could start, a new thing that you can only use the word emotion, and everybody'd be at their desks all the time, right? Because nobody wants to say I'm sad or I'm happy, and stress is like an emotional reaction to something, right? So whatever the situation is, work being, most people like, oh, I'm stressed because of work, right? But they don't realize that, they're acting as if stress cannot be changed, like as if stress is like your right arm or your left arm, like it's here, you can't do anything about it, right? Yeah. Where stress is something they can do something about. It's all about changing our belief system, our thought patterns, right? Understanding why we get our emotions, or why we have the stress in the first place, what emotions are attached to that, and where that stems from. Going back to, so that the conscious mind, when the conscious mind connects with what the issue is, the subconscious, half the time nobody even has to do anything about it. The subconscious just automatically releases that energy pattern, and the people start feeling better. And in short periods of time, this doesn't take like forever. This takes, in 6 sessions, a person could be like on their way to total freedom from, and people have come in with canes and left in 1 session without the cane and that type of thing. But you have to be able to be open to understanding that stress is something that we can change. It's not something that just exists and you have to have, no matter what it is, right? Yeah. So, because people say I have to have a job, I need to support the family, but it's what job, and understanding what parts of, and the thing is that people think they have to quit their job, right? But people don't have to quit a job. They just have to understand why everything around them affects them the way they do, versus being in peace with everything that's around them.
Yes.
Right? And so, because 10 to 1, that emotion's drawn from something,
Yeah, I think Esther Hicks or Abraham talks a lot about, if you leave
in the law of attraction.
Right, in the law of attraction is, if you leave a situation or a job, quit a job, thinking that to get away from the problem, you're just going to recreate it in another situation. If you run away from something to escape it, the problem is you're just going to recreate it in another situation, because you haven't made peace with the situation.
Right, you haven't
Yeah.
understood why you were in that situation in the first place.
Exactly.
Right, and I don't talk this because I
Right.
don't know it.
Right, right.
I've been through all this.
Right.
I've experienced all this, and I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen the results
Right.
of understanding that,
Yeah.
you know, why is something happening? Why are you there? Why are you experiencing this? Why are you reacting to certain things?
Right, right.
And when you do go into this place to understand why, it's amazing that if that job is the wrong job, it will automatically shift. You'll find another job opening.
Right.
Something will happen because you've learned what you're supposed to learn, and now there's no need for necessarily you to be around these particular people
Right.
who are so-called teachers here for you to be able to see what's happening, and you'll resonate now with a different employer. If it's somebody who doesn't appreciate you, now you'll find somebody who does appreciate you. You'll find yourself happier,
Yeah.
you know, more peaceful. Everything will change. But like you say, if you don't do that and you just go to the next job, you're going to recreate with different people, with different situations,
Exactly.
the same cycle.
Because you're giving off the same vibration.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with relationships too.
Correct.
You know, I mean,
Correct.
if you leave one relationship and you end it thinking, oh, I'm going to, you know, end this relationship or friendship, and then you start another one, these people, until you learn the lesson you're meant to learn, you're just going to keep recreating the same thing, you know. And then, but like you said, when you've learned the lesson you're meant to learn, and you're just going to attract a different kind of relationship, and the person that's presently you're attracting is just kind of going to disappear or not be in your life anymore. So it's not, I don't know if we're getting off the topic, but it should be effortless.
Yes.
We shouldn't have to try,
No,
you know.
Exactly.
Life should be easy and pleasurable.
Well, and as far as illness,
Right.
you know, if people really believe that we were put here
Right.
to suffer,
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I know.
Right? I mean, we were not put here to suffer. We're put here to be happy, loving,
Yeah.
caring, abundant people,
Right.
prosperous people. But we put in this mentality that this is hell on earth, that this is, you know, this is like you get old, you get sick.
Right,
You know, all of these
exactly.
belief systems that we put into place
Right.
that carry us, instead of saying, wait a second, why do I have this pain? Why do I have this illness? What am I holding? You know, I don't care if it's cancer. I don't care what
Right.
it is. I am a
Exactly.
firm believer that it is all stems from the emotional, and I think too, it's probably why we spend all this money on research.
Right,
Like
yeah.
I believe in research to a degree, right? But I really don't believe in research.
Right.
Look at how much money we spend on research, and we don't have an answer.
Right, because
right?
we're focusing on the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
We're in the whole direction. Now, if somebody wants to do a research on emotion affecting physical,
Right.
I'll put every dime I have into
Yeah.
it, right, for
Right.
somebody to do that,
Right.
right? But we spend so much money, and all we end up coming up with is another drug,
Yep, I know.
right?
People don't want to look at that part of themselves.
Right. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's all, you know, again, it falls back on emotion affecting the physical, and how
Right.
much people want to be able to be comfortable with looking at that and freeing themselves up
Right.
to be happy and to be pain-free.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I told you before, growing up, around my family, you know, I was a kid and I'd look at the adults in my life and, you know, they'd be taking their Xanax or anti-anxiety medication and just telling me, oh, when you become an adult, that's just how it is. You're just going to take all these drugs. And I said, that's not the way I want to live. It's just like this sentence.
Right.
This death sentence, not a death sentence, but it's just accepted. You know, well, that's how it is. You're going to be stressed out, and you're going to take this medication, and that's just how it is. And I
Right.
said, no. I mean,
But all these people are stressed for a reason.
right,
that
exactly.
They can uncover and relieve
Yeah.
energetically with the energetic patterns,
Right.
And change that, change that whole thought process.
Right.
And when they can actually see how that works,
Right.
they're enthused about, uncovering, and to everybody. I mean, a lot of people want to be well.
Right.
They just don't know how to get there.
Right, exactly.
Right? Because they just, to go into the doctor, and, I have 18-year-olds come in and say, oh, I have arthritis in my neck.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, and I touch their neck and their muscles are so tight, right? And I'll say, do you have arthritis that bad that, like, it's causing you not to be able to move your head? And they're like, oh, I don't really know, right? So I say, what does the doctor tell you? Oh, take ibuprofen. Like what? For the rest of your life?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The arthritis is probably some minuscule,
Right.
What they seen on the x-ray now becomes in the person's, if they tell the person it's because of, you have fibromyalgia, which, by the way, is an emotional
Right.
condition that they don't even know what causes it, right? But now this is the new trend. Everybody, and has been for a while, that everybody who's in pain has fibromyalgia. So people walk around going, oh, well, it's my fibromyalgia, it's my fibromyalgia. Everything has to do with the condition. So they're not looking at these underlying emotional issues that are causing the problem, because they're saying it doesn't matter what goes on. And now if their toe hurts, it's because they have fibromyalgia, not because they stubbed their toe, right? Because they don't even associate anymore. Everything that's going on is all having to do with a condition that has been diagnosed, and they're in the belief system that that's what's causing all of the issues. And that's another big, major problem. Because what doctors tell people, people believe.
Exactly.
Right? And
it can
which
be a death sentence,
Right, and I'm not saying, look, I believe totally in Western medicine, and we need that. If your arm's falling off, I need a doctor to put my arm back on.
Of course.
And tests that need to be done, X-rays, whatever it is that has to be done. But the point of the matter is, we have to look more into the the emotional aspect, and I think it would be great if doctors started referring them to people. Like this is the other thing that's so ironic, right? Because people will come in, except for the Hartford Headache Center, who I worked out of their office for a while, because once they saw this woman, they realized, well, there's something different here, right? They couldn't do, right? But in most cases, I have clients who go back to doctors who are walking fine, who couldn't walk, who had migraines, who don't have migraines anymore, and who have now experienced this emotional connection. Doctors aren't looking for us, Emily. They're not looking for us to help more of their clients, right? I can't even get doctors to talk to me, let alone to have them refer, right? And I understand their positions of this is what they learned, right?
Exactly.
But I can understand that we need them. I would hope that they could understand that they need us as well, that we can help people as a whole, bring people into wholeness and to health. And we don't have to worry about bringing them back over and over again, because as people start getting well, more people will come to be well. I don't know where, that whole... I'm not saying that, doctors are, saying this to people to get them back, over and over again, but I'm saying that we can get them well, and that we can work together as a whole to do that. If we choose that we, and want to help people really get well.
No, and it's true. And I mean, you'd think, I have clients come to me too, and I think they'll say, oh, I'm getting old, and I mean, I want to lose weight, and sometimes you want to say, oh, I can help you, and they're like, well, I don't want another expense, or I can't. It's like they say they want to change, and then they're like, but they're not willing to do the work that it takes to get there, Well,
and a lot of times it's not, but that's, I think, also too, they're thinking it is a lot of work.
And
it's a lot of money. But the truth of the matter is if they did this work now, in a short period of time and with little money, they will, I mean, let's face it, a lot of people want to do what insurance pays,
Exactly.
Even if it doesn't help, because insurance is paying.
Exactly.
But if you could spend $1,000 or $2,000 and go on your next vacation, skip a vacation and go on your next one free of pain, doing all the things you love to do, what would you choose, right? But they're also thinking that it's a long time process. And this Eastern philosophy is not, and it's not New Age. It's been around for a long, long time, right?
I think that looking at the emotions, a lot of people just don't want to go there because they're afraid they'll flip out and go to the other side and never come back, or I don't know what they'll
I don't know
think.
I don't know what the it certainly has been that you don't, just like men, like we wonder why they're insensitive to women's needs or whatever, but I mean, if you've had to suck it up or you know, don't cry or all this kind of stuff, I mean, what do we expect? It's again what they've been programmed to do, and what they, I mean, all of this emotions is stuck in them. It's gotta happen. Something's gonna happen to it. It's gotta
go somewhere.
It's gotta go somewhere.
And sometimes I'll have clients that come to me and say, "Oh, I have this knot in my shoulder, and it's been there forever, and what can I do about it?" And then I'm thinking, well, probably it's could be an emotional thing. It could be, if it's been there forever and not going away, and then you kind of gauge, will this person be able to accept what I want to tell them? Like, I have to gauge, should I go down that route with them? Are they going to be open to it, or do they just want to? They just expect me to give them a stretch to do, and what can I do to get rid of this?
Well, I think that's our job to educate them, to share what we know, and not determine, necessarily determine whether they're going to accept it or not, but to give them our knowledge, so that at least it's food for thought.
That's true,
right?
Yeah.
Because people, I've been there,
right?
I've been where all these people have been, right?
It's true,
and I know,
we all have
what it's like, and how it can be scary and all of these things. But the reality of it is, it's scarier to be there than to be on the other side. Because once you're on the other side, there is no fear anymore, right? Only I did this all myself, right? I did this within my own meditations in my own home, doing all of this myself, and it didn't have other means like this to with our kinds of kind of work, or people explaining to me or educating me or that type of thing. So I think in defense to the people, everybody's in their place, whether they're ready for it or not, just because it's what they were, the belief system that they have about what will happen. But we've all been there. It's just a matter of taking it.
No, it's true. Like you said, we could educate someone now, and they might not. They could go on with their life, and then maybe 5 years down the road, they could be ready to deal with it then. So you never know in what way or shape or form we're going to affect someone's life. It's like,
it's food for thought,
right? Exactly,
it's only food for thought, right?
Yep.
Progressives,
yes,
right? It's food for thought.
No, and yeah, it's true. It's like educating people, and then we could give them food for thought. They could try all their other options, and then when they're, be like, I've tried everything, I'm going to go back now and get a massage instead of getting surgery, or,
Right.
Definitely educating people, give them food for thought, and then if they want to come back, try something different.
Yeah, and I think something you mentioned before, too, about the knot. I think deep tissue, our profession, has really, done a disservice to people, because they think deep tissue, pain, all that kind of stuff is what's going to help them.
Right, exactly.
And the reality is that that's doing more harm than good, because you're going at layers too fast. You have to go with people's abilities, layer by layer by layer, and not try to invade something where they've set up a barrier for survival, because that's what we've done, right?
Exactly.
The emotional thing and all of that is just all stuff we've used to help us get through something, or to, and they're going. People are not healing with that. They might feel good for a short time, but they're not going to get to the root cause and to solve the problem. So it's and just one more thing
Right.
I forgot to mention is one time I was working on a woman. I love this example. I was working on a woman, and I said, I got the word divorce when I was working on her body, and I'm like, I'm not going to ask this woman, are you divorcing?
Right.
So I said, does the word divorce mean anything to you? And her husband was in Iraq for many tours, and what happened was they all had come back, and families become very connected when men are off to war.
Right.
But when the men come back, everybody disperses because now it's about the men. And that's where she was feeling divorce from all of the families, right? So you talk about emotions, like, and that's the other thing too, is people take words, literally.
Right.
You have to really see where they fit. But that's another example of how this woman's pain was being stored in the body because she was feeling a divorce from all of these people who had supported her for, they were there for 2-3 years, right? So, so there's so many facets, and that's a trauma.
Right.
That's a trauma
Right.
for a person. So, so there's so many aspects to the emotion. It runs such a gamut. But people can, the bottom line is, people can be well. They need to want to be well. And the thing is time, money, and energy is really what all they need to do. And it's really not a lot. Because they'll see, they can see results in a short period of time to realize there's a different road that they can actually take that will free them.
Right.
So basically, that's my work, and that's what I enjoy doing and helping people with.
No.
Hey, where are we going with the second show?
Oh,
Give us a heads up.
okay.
Give us a
Well,
heads up.
thanks, Lorraine. Next, if you'll join us for our next show, we're going to be talking about how our beliefs affect our lives. And that's going to, so join us for our next episode. Stick around. My name is Emily Volfantasta, and my guest, Lorraine Jolly. Stick around for the next episode. Okay. And thanks for joining us on Progressive Soup. And we're going to talk about our beliefs, which is slightly different than emotions, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So stick
Got a
around.
couple suggestions, but wind it down and then we'll.
All right.
Where are we?
Well, thanks again, and stick around for our next episode. Goodbye. I hope you're going to edit that out.